Good morning, meteorologist Bob here for you with today's tropical update for Sunday, August 21st, 2011. Well, the main focus out there will be Tropical Storm Irene for the next, most likely for the next week. So that's where the focus of this video will be this morning. There's really nothing else out there in the tropical Atlantic. Harvey has made landfall yesterday, and there's really not much else out there. So, 8 a.m. Advisory this morning. This was maximum sustained winds 50 miles an hour, movement west at 21. We still have hurricane hunters in there sampling the system, so we'll get a better idea of strength and winds. Doesn't look like it's strengthened too much this morning as some dry air has wrapped into the circulation a bit. We had a center relocation last night within the heavier convection, so that moved the track a little farther north. Unfortunately for Puerto Rico, that puts them into play now with this system. We have hurricane watches and tropical storm warnings out for the island. Definitely conditions will begin going downhill for them later this afternoon, and then they'll bear the brunt of this system tonight into Monday morning. And looks like definitely tropical storm force winds for them, possibly even some hurricane force wind gusts with this system. So unless the center relocates even a little farther north today, it looks like it's going to slip just to the south. But most of the heaviest weather with this system is to the north right now. So they're definitely going to get the brunt of Tropical Storm Irene. And we even could have Tropical Storm Irene strengthening a little bit as it moves south of Puerto Rico, where we could even get it close to hurricane strength in this area. So for those across Puerto Rico, definitely should be in your final preparations for this storm. And then from there, with that northern shift, it looks like it's probably going to move right over the island of Hispaniola. Good news that it will knock this system down some. But the system is so large and the environment is so great with this system that once it gets back out here with that high heat content and everything, definitely should continue to see reorganization and strengthening. And this isn't going to be one of those quickly moving systems up this way. You know, sometimes we see them gathering strength, the trough gets them and it goes off. We're not having that big deep trough digging down, so it's going to be a slow bend up this way. You can see this is from Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, so it's going to have plenty of time with this slower motion to get itself together in this region. And I'll give you my thoughts on the forecast here in a little bit. I am more towards the eastern end of this cone right now, especially with the shift to the north. So my track would be, right now, if I had to make a track, it would be over, Hispaniola right here, and then something like this right now. I'm really starting to take the eastern Gulf out of play at the moment. I don't really think it's going to sneak all the way into here. I'm thinking more of this kind of track like this. All right, so let's look at the storm real quick here. We have a visible loop this morning here, and you can see some of that dry air has mixed into the circulation. The center is passing through the island of Montserrat, and will continue to slide. Here's the center right in here, and continue to slide just like this, passing just south of Puerto Rico. Again, if we have a little deviation to this track, it could actually move right over the island of Puerto Rico. Again, the heaviest weather is to the north of the center right now. So, again, you guys across the Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico will be bearing the brunt of this system. Putting a little color onto this satellite loop, and you can see that dry air just kind of worked its way into the circulation a little bit. So it's got to work that back out, and then we could see slow strengthening as it moves near Puerto Rico later today and tonight. But definitely a very healthy system, great outflow, nothing really wrong with the structure of Irene. Satellite view here from the islands here, and you can see very well defined center still. Not much going on south of the center as far as most of the heaviest convection is to the north, and that was some of that dry air that got wrapped around into the center of circulation. Radar out of Puerto Rico this morning, the first rain band starting to come through. Excuse me, and this will be the beginning of conditions going downhill for Puerto Rico as we move through the afternoon, and then definitely they will be getting the brunt of this system tonight into tomorrow morning. Water vapor loop, and this is kind of showing the overall structure. You can see beautiful outflow with this system. Nothing like the last 8 storms we've had this season. I mean, if you can't even compare the outflow or any organization to what we've had so far this season. This is what a nice organized tropical system looks like. And what's going to happen here, you can see a nice outflow boundary, nice outflow here, starting outflow channel. Excuse me, I can't speak this morning. Outflow channels beginning to really blossom here to the north and northeast, and this is going to continue through the life of this system, and this will feed this system. This is really what you want to see to the north here. But again, beautiful fanning and outflow. We have upper level ridge over Irene right now. It just has to work out some of its dry air issues. It doesn't have a lot, but we should see definitely a strengthening system as it moves towards Hispaniola, Dominican Republic, and Haiti in the next few days. And again, this shear forecast looks pretty good all the way, to Florida. And again, as we look at the shear, upper high over it currently. Higher shear here, but this higher shear is going to stay to the north. This actually is going to lift a little farther north, so it's not going to affect the system. It's actually going to help, again, aid into that outflow channel to its north as through the whole life of the system. Again, as it nears Florida, we could see some northerly shear impinging on it from that high to its west. That's down the road. We'll have to see about that. But from here all the way to Florida, shear looks really good. We just have to deal with land issues as far as intensity goes. Steering flow. I put the layer just a little higher with this system, considering it's going to strengthen in the next 12 to 24 hours. So you can see where the slowdown is going to occur. It's being steered by the subtropical ridge here to its north and northeast at a pretty swift pace. As it loses the influence of this high, it's going to slow down in this area here and then slowly make the turn. There will be this weakness, as I've been talking about this for the last week. We have our Rockies high and we have our subtropical ridge, and then there's that weakness. It's not one of those sharp troughs that's going to just eject the system right out to sea. It's a weakness. So what's going to happen is it's going to slowly make the turn and then move pretty parallel. This could be one of those I-95 runners, could be one of those East Coast runners. It's not going to be one of these let's go hook right out to sea. So the effects of a large portion of the East Coast could be affected by the system with flooding rains, tornadoes, winds. And when we see this kind of track, it does affect a lot of people. So don't think this is going to be one of those quickly out to sea. This is going to be one of those bending up to the north type deals. That's why track is real significant here. I mean, any deviation, if it moves a little farther west, well, then we'll have this kind of track, not affecting much of us here across the mid-Atlantic. A little farther east track, which I think is going to happen, keeping it pretty close to the east coast of Florida or just off the east coast of Florida. We'll keep it over those warmer waters, and then we could have greater impact across the southeast coast, northeastern Georgia coast, South Carolina, North Carolina. So still a lot of ifs in the forecast. Again, but I'm leaning more towards this kind of solution right in here. But again, it'll be a slower motion in here. So you don't think it's moving quickly now. It's going to keep moving quickly. It's going to slow down in here, and that'll give it time to strengthen near the Bahamas or in the Florida Straits, right in this area here. And again, heat content, I don't have to tell anybody. It's high all in this area, so that is not going to be a limiting factor at all. Okay, models. Well, we've seen the models shift a little east overnight, and that was basically due to relocation of the center. 12Z models will be interesting today because, again, more data, more Hurricane Hunter data, better pinpointing on the exact center of the storm. So we'll see. I don't expect much more deviation today. I expect to see us pretty much in this area here. The only outlier we have right now is the UK Met model. Even here's the GFDL, and I'll show you that in a moment. Even that's come back a little east last night, and early this morning. So again, this is the only outlier right now, and we don't even have, that was UK Met last night. I expect UK Met to come a little farther east as well at 12Z with the center relocating. So pretty good agreement with the models, you have to say. This forecast, even in the long range, has been really, really tight with the models, and we like to see that for forecasting. So again, this would be my track right now, right in here. Just off the east coast of Florida, maybe brushing the east coast. And then again, does it come in Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina? Does it even come in, along the east coast of Florida? Again, I cannot see this right now with that center relocating coming into the Eastern Gulf. I think I could really take that off the table right now, and this would be more of the track. Intensity models, again, a lot of them really cranking up this system. Again, it's really going to have to do intensity forecast out in 3-4 days from now is really iffy because it's dependent on land interaction with Hispaniola. So we don't really know that exactly right now. You know how hard intensity forecasts are, but this is just showing you that the upper level environment will be very favorable for increasing development. And again, ensemble models, this is GFS. This is the operational run in the white. And then now you're seeing probably more than half of the ensemble models to the east of Florida, you know, more towards than the west. So you can see we've kind of moved a little farther east. Euro model, this is the operational run. And you can see, again, pretty much a track just like the GFS along the east coast of Florida, possibly making landfall near Georgia. This is the Euro, this is the ensemble models, and again, pretty much just like the operational along that east coast of Florida. HWRF, again, pretty much the same as the GFS and the Euro along the east coast of Florida. So you see in the trend. You like to see a trend, and this is really what the trend is looking like right now. Now, could it, if the center keeps relocating farther to the north, could this track shift a little farther to the east? Sure. And that's why we're going to keep pinpointing this as we go along. We're still, you know, 4 or 5 days away from any impacts here along the Bahamas or Florida or the southeast coast. Even more than that, more like a Friday, Saturday time frame. So we still have time to watch this. And last but not least, the GFDL. And you can see it has shifted a little farther west. I mean, GFDL was way out by the Yucatan yesterday. It shifted farther to the east now as well. So that's really going to be the trend today. Watch the models. See what happens. We still have a long way off for the United States here. But again, if you're living across Florida, anywhere along the southeast coast, all the way up to the mid-Atlantic coast, this is time to prepare. Watch this system. No need to panic. No need to panic, but definitely be aware of what's going on. Kind of go through your hurricane plan, especially if you're living along the coast. This is really a good time to get things in order. And for later this week, we could be seeing some impacts with this system. I will have another update for you guys, maybe tonight, but definitely again tomorrow morning. Have a good Sunday. And again, if you want to follow me on Facebook, it's Robert, ACAN, FRIO.